Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Taylor Talks Trades. In this week's episode we are with Jason Lister from Advanced Traditional Screeding. He's taken us on his journey from being one man in a van all the way through to turning over in excess of 5 million per annum, and he's actually just recently sold 75% of his shares to the energy store in a very exciting deal. I hope you enjoy. Good morning, Jason.
Morning.
Welcome to Taylor Talks Trades.
Thanks for having me.
I'll start where I always start, mate. How did you get into the trades?
How I got into the trades was I actually got into the sand and cement screeds is the main reason I got into the trades, and what that was is I basically left school with no qualifications. I then went locally in a place in Yorkshire and they made sand and cement windowsills.
Right.
And with them making the windowsills, I learned very quickly how to mix sand and cements and concretes, but majority of what we did were all fancy arches and but then we went to making windowsills for houses, and I did that. I worked there for around about 12 years, ended up on part of the management team, so I knew quite a lot about sand and cement. So that's how I originally got into working with sand and cement and working with glass reinforced concrete and all this type of thing.
Yeah.
What then happened was I was one of the management. I came to Scotland to do some work in Edinburgh, and whilst I was in Edinburgh, there was some glass reinforced copings on a balcony, and my boss asked me, because it was a penthouse suite and there was a problem with them, so my boss at the time asked me if I'd come up to Scotland and make sure that these were installed correctly, and it went well. So I came up to Scotland in Edinburgh, and on a night out I met my wife.
Wow.
So 20 years later I'm sat here, but yeah. I met my wife, then after a long distance relationship, I then decided to move to Scotland. When I moved to Scotland, first of all went into doing something similar, place in Loanhead called Patterson's.
Yeah.
They used to make windowsills and that. I worked there for a little bit, do with sand and cement.
It's quite a niche as well, isn't it? That sort of...
So yeah, you're making, obviously, but they did it like really old school there. There were no you were bashing it and making it yourself. And so I worked there for a little bit, but then I seen a job for doing sand and cement floors with a company called Stewart's Industrial Flooring. Right. The company's no longer there now. They used to be the biggest concrete company in Britain at one point, throughout Britain. And that was at Loanhead. And I thought to myself, I can do sand and cement like this, I'm sure I can do floors. Yeah. I then went obviously for an interview, and then eventually got my own squad, got qualified and got the MBQs, and started screeding for them. And that's how I sort of got into the floor screeding. It actually happened when I was in Scotland. Even though I'd worked in sand and cement for a lot of years, it happened in Scotland. So then, whilst being in Scotland, like I say, I saw Stewart's were looking for, so I then went into the flooring, doing floor sand and cement, and I found it wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be, to be honest, but I got there and ended up running a squad for them. Then what happened was I then went to another company called Glen Hammond in Perth. Worked with them for 5 years.
And what was the sort of you just zipped through that there, like the 12 years? So you went, it's fine, but you went into that first place, and then you were and then it just became management. Like, were you always a leader? Was that?
Yeah. So yeah, I've always.
Did you just get in there and leadership was your thing, or did you learn that when you were there, or how did that come? I think
I've always been really strong character, and yeah. So over time, I would say I've always been a leader. Rugby's really been sort of one of my main things as well. Yeah. So you get that rugby mentality. So at the first bit, yeah. So I went in there, I worked on the tools, and it was piecework. Yeah. Doing sand and cement, making windowsills, so you got to do as much as you can till like 5 a.m. till 5 at night, and you're working.
Oh, so do you get paid per one you do?
Yeah, that's what you get paid doing that. So yeah.
They'll need to bring that back again.
Yeah, so that's what you did. You got paid for exactly what you did. Yeah. You did so much, you got time and a half and double time. So the more you did, the more money you earned. And so what then happened is, after so long, I then moved into the management. I was one of the managers. Then obviously, like I say, I met my wife and moved to Scotland and started again. So 20 years ago, actually, it's probably over 20, I moved to Scotland with no job.
Right. And that's when you got into the floors? Or was that just before that, actually?
I then went to, I did a short time at a company called Parsons. They're not there anymore, in Lonehead, doing windowsills again, but they were like proper prehistoric with that. They were like going back to, like, where's your mixer? Oh no, you mix that by hand. I'm like, all right, okay. Wow. So,
all these things teach you though, don't they?
It was a learning curve, there's no doubt about it, it was, but I just, when I moved up, my wife was a full-time nurse, so it was easy for, she was like, oh, don't worry about it, and, it's fine, I'm full-time. I'm like, no, it's not the way I work, I have to work myself. So I went out and, like I said, I started there. Then I eventually went to Stewart's Industrial Flooring, and like I said, they then put me through my qualifications. I was doing mainly sand and cement, and I started doing liquids. And I basically learned a trade that I'd known for a long time. I knew a lot about sand and cement and a lot about the fundamentals of, but yeah, then obviously I had to learn how to do floors. After a few years there, I then went to, like I said, I then moved to Perth, did it for them for a few years. And as a leader again, as a supervisor there. Then what happened is they then decided that, because we were mainly sand and cement, what we were doing for them, because they had liquid screed teams. We did everything, to be honest with you. We could do it all, but they made the decision to make us redundant. So they said, oh, there's not much sand and cement work, so you need to go. But as you know yourself, I don't know if you do know, but for me personally, I'd always thought about setting up on my own, because you're thinking, but when you've got a wife, a mortgage and kids,
there's a limit to what you can earn as well.
Yeah, but you're always like, as well, you're thinking, what happens if you don't work and I can't pay my mortgage?
What is that bit though? Because like your eyes lit up as you said that there. Do you know, you went, I don't know if you know, but you kind of looked at me and went, I know you know. It's that an entrepreneurial kind of burning thing in you, isn't it?
Yeah, you always wanted to do it, but a lot of people just don't have the guts to actually say, I'm going for this.
And do you think because of the redundancy, you sort of almost had I can just go for it?
It forced my hand. I had nothing to lose then.
Yeah.
It forced my hand, and I basically put £2,000 in to buy, and it was proper like nearly falling to bits, this van. It was like a proper old banger transit van, you know what I mean? Where you have to back down about 5 times for it to shut and things like that. It were horrendous. But just to get us up and going. So we got, me, Jeff, who came, who was also a screeder with me and Jeff, and we got a labourer, and so that's when advanced traditional screeding started, which is more known now as ATS. And that was, like I say, that was February 2014.
Wow.
So the first few years were, as any business in construction, it's hard work.
I'm just thinking there, like February 2014, like it's not really that long ago. Do you know, you've come quite a distance in that sort of 10 years, really, when you think about it.
10 years. It's.
So that was it, like one man with somebody with you in a van, basically 10 years ago.
Yeah, but we had two screeders, 10 years. Me, another screeder, and we had a labourer.
Yeah, and was it very much at that point? Did you have much an understanding about business, or at that point was it very much, I can do the job, I'll need to learn the rest, like most of us had?
Yeah, that's it, exactly.
None of us went to business school as such, did we?
No, like I say, I left school with no qualifications, no business qualifications, just, I always looked at life as in, you're either going to really work hard to basically physically to earn a decent living, or you do it academically by going to university. Obviously, I'd recommend going to university than doing it the way that I've done it, and I don't know, maybe is that the way you've done it as well?
I was just literally left school with 0 qualifications, same idea, and got into a roofing apprenticeship straight away and never looked back. And I think I knew I wasn't going to be academic. And some of it is limiting beliefs around, you know, what, like as I've grew as a sort of business owner as such, because I had no choice. You have to. You start employing people and all the bits that comes with it. You need to go and get work. You've got to learn it. But then I did realise that, well, I'm obviously quite a good learner because I've learnt business. Yeah. So you kind of almost realise, like, you feel like you got a bit of a dud deal at school because it's like, well, everybody said, well, I couldn't learn and I wouldn't be able to apply myself to anything. And it's actually it just wasn't the right learning for me, really.
I'm exactly the same.
A lot of us, and it is probably historically, or like commonly known that it's us trades guys that seem to be a bit more hands-on that sort of just kind of leave that bit, because I think we almost have this thing in us knowing, I'll just graft, I'll just make money, I'll be fine.
That's it. That's exactly it. It's you know, it's not. I don't even know if it's an academic thing, because obviously we're not stupid people. I won't be sat here, would we? Exactly. It's just one of these where skill's not for everybody. Yeah. It's not. Yeah. It's simply one for me. I hated it. I hated it with a passion. Yeah. No, but yeah, so I looked at but work really hard and long hours and graft to get where you want to be, or you like you say, or you do it academically through universities and that. But like I say, I did it the hard route, and would I recommend that route? Probably not. It's a tough gig, but
it's a hard one when you look back, isn't it? Because you think the things that's made us who we are was all the hardship. But I kind of look at my kids and I think, I'd like you to have a bit of an easier route. Yeah, but why would you want them to have it easier? And do you know, it's a bit of a catch-22 actually.
Yeah, don't get me wrong.
Because when they get it easier, then they've sort of maybe not got that work ethic. They're not getting the same values as you've had, but I guess that's just a generational thing as well.
Yeah, it's just for us to get them values into them, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like with my two, my son's nearly 17 and my daughter's nearly 16, and they're very academic. Yeah. So I'm like, get yourself to university, you know, don't do what I've done, this sort of thing, but then you'll have other kids at school who clearly, who are not, school's not for them, and they need to go down a trades route. But
it's a lot of risk as well, isn't it? The sort of like that, like you said, like maybe that harder working route is difficult, because in order to be that grafter and make that next step at times when you need to, you've got to take a leap of faith and maybe go, I need to hire another guy here or another squad, I need to get another van. It's like you're putting your full life at risk at that point. Or it might not be as clean cut as that, but at that time it feels like, if I take them on, this doesn't work out, I'm failed and I'm done forever. Whereas probably you can scale back a wee bit, things can change, but you don't know that at that time, so you're really just plummeting through this growth, and you don't know what's going to happen.
I think yes. So I agree. I think the thing with, like, when I started ATS, like you say, you start with a van, you then stay until midnight doing quotes, and then going back out at 5 in the morning, and it's hard graft. But I suppose if you, like say, you've got that fundamental, you've got the foundations, you know how to graft. Yeah. So it's all you know. Yeah. You know how to graft. Yeah. So that's why a lot of people, I'm not working them hours. It's not like that. It's all you know. Yeah. And especially if you've got a family there in the background, you've got support. As time goes on, obviously, you then get to the next stage where you get that busy, like you just said. When we got to a stage where I was like, I need another van. Another thing you need to do when you first start a business is, which I found out quite quick, is even though I've been in Scotland doing screeds quite a long time, so I'm quite well known, so I had contacts, so it made it easier. Because Scotland can be quite a close shop. It made it a lot easier, but you need to make sure, you know, when you're in Scotland and you know people, you've got to look professional. You've got to look really professional. Even though when you first start a business, it's hard. Yeah. You've got to have that leap of faith and get vans. Yeah. As soon as I could, I got a brand new van, got it sign written, and that's what you've got to do.
It shows that it's important to you. If your brand looks good, then they think this person's taking it serious. If you turn up in a sort of white van, unsigned written, all rusty and stuff, which we probably all had to start there, to be honest, you know. But like, I think there's just something about that, like when you turn up with that first van and it doesn't look great. I think your passion and enthusiasm probably tells that client that you're dealing with that they maybe look at the van, then look at you, and they can maybe get that, by the way, I'll not be in that van for long. Do you know, because you actually do double the effort to impress them, to go, Don't worry about the van and then through time they start to see, right, well there's another van and now it's getting the sign writing, and I think brand as such is massive.
It's a bit embarrassing when you turn up in these vans that's nearly falling to bits, and you're like, but as soon as you can, you get a van, and like I say, you've got to get a van, you've got to get staff, you've got to have uniforms, you've got to do that as soon as possible, because if you don't do that quickly,
it's already growing too quick, isn't it? And then
if you don't get that, you're going to turn up to a job like this, and people are not going to use you. Like, look at the state of the van, they're not going to do a good job.
Hi guys, sorry to interrupt the episode, but I just wanted to say a massive thank you to Scot Brandon for being our new podcast sponsor. As you're aware, if you've been listening and following the podcast, I'm really big on my branding and having branded workwear. We've teamed up with these guys. They've done all our work at Taylor Roofs, Taylor Solar, and now the Taylor Talks brand here that you can see. They're good quality, good prices, and really good service. Go and connect with Scot Brandon on their social media channels, check out their website, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the episode. What was the sort of steps then, like, from sort of where you were then to now? What was the, like, when did you think, right, I need to get someone doing the admin, I need someone doing these jobs? Was there a transition into that?
So for the first few years I worked from home. I had an office in my house, because obviously try to keep costs down. Yeah. So the first few years I was on the tools and doing it at night. Then I got to a stage where the admin got too much. Yeah. So I just sat. I came off the tools and basically I used to go out if I had to, if we were short-staffed, or if we had big jobs, then I'd go out and work. But I was doing more pricing, quoting. Did I really know what we were doing? Probably not. No, I made so many mistakes, as you do when you set your own business up. It's unreal. But now, obviously, we went from, within 10 years, we're now turning over 5 million quid this year. We just did last year. So, and we're growing again this year. So, within the first few years, I got to a stage very quickly where I realised I needed vans, so I had guys, and it's a big risk. Because I'm not going to lie to you, there were months when I had to buy vans and get guys and get them all kitted out. Yeah. And there were months when I'd be saying to my wife, "You better get some shifts done this week." You know what I mean? It's I don't even know if I'm getting paid this month, and it's bad. It is bad at times. You can see why people, and construction, unfortunately, is set up to fail in a way, and that's why so many go bust, is that they do this CIS tax, they do all these, and before you know it, you're getting deductions off your left, right and centre.
Retentions and things like that as well.
You've got retentions, they do CIS tax, which you're not gross for a number of years, and you're getting 20% off everything. And what happens is it basically, you get to a stage where you probably only get like 55% of what you're actually billing, you know.
And it's when you're getting it as well. It'd be fine if they were giving you every week, on time, Friday morning or something, but they stretch you that far, then they go, and by the way, you can wait 90 days for that one, or 30, 60, 90, whatever, but...
It's constructive. You see why so many companies go bust, because if you don't have the fundamentals in place and you don't do it. But it was tough at first, so what tended to happen is, so the way it went with me is, I worked from home. I did, like I say, I worked from home, and I did all the things that we're saying. We got the vans, we got the people. The guys always got paid. That was always my priority. And I've always been quite big on values, and the values have to be correct on, the guys who work for us have got to have the correct values. Even now in the office, we've got 17 office staff at the minute. Yeah. And these are, everyone who's brought into the company with values.
Through the values,
It's values. It's not always... They need to be able to do the job, but not. If I've got 3 people who've got the same qualifications, or even somebody who's got a few less qualifications, but I think their values fit our structure better, I will employ them.
That makes sense.
Due to, honesty is the
person first over the qualification. It does make sense.
Yeah, I need to. That's what I look at more than anything, and that's what's helped us grow, because you've got to build a team that's going to work together and that fit in with each other.
I've read a lot on like different business books and implemented a lot of things myself, especially at Taylor Roofs. That's like our main business, and with that one, it's quite difficult in the beginning stages of how do you put company values in, because you're maybe looking at like some really large corporate companies who's doing this, and then you go, you're just a wee roofing outfit, like this is going to be a bit weird. But do you know the exercise that I did? It was, we went through an exercise with, I think we only maybe had like 10 people maximum at that time. It was there or thereabouts. And I just went through like everyone in the company who, like I think at that point they were all really quite good because they were all really close, and I'd hired them on what I could see. It was like a gut feeling value. Yeah, that's it. And then what we did was we went, right, well, this guy here, what's his best traits? And we're like, right, he's really hardworking, he's really trustworthy, he likes to grow and kind of push on a wee bit. So, and you know, that's where, like, if you look at Taylor Roos company values, it's hard work, trust, growth, giving back. That's like the main core four. And do you know, it's like, that just came from the guys that I had around me and then the people that I was bringing in. So it was like almost, we wrote it all out, and then we went, well, if we could have like 10 more people like that, that would be ideal. And then we did that. So it was, hard work, trust, growth, giving back. And then we added in communication, and then we added in quality and safety. And I think now we're on a wee bit of a journey where we need to go through we've grown so much that we need to go through a rejig of the values. And I think we go back to the core ones and then see, because I think when you get to maybe sometimes that many, like it's starting to get like, right, you've just been everything to it, like almost, does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean.
So I think
the core values are always there. The stuff like safety and things is a given. Though.
It's almost like, right, you didn't need that as a value. It's like, you just can't be in business if you're not going to be safe and doing things properly. But no, I like that you instilled that. And what would your, like, anyone listening to the podcast who's maybe like, you know, a bit behind in like where you are in your journey and thinking about doing that, what would be your tips on how they would like get the values instilled onto their team? Have you got any sort of?
To be honest with you, the main thing is I don't know if everyone else is, but for me it's getting a personal connection with the person to start with. I need to make sure that I need to meet the people. You need to do it more than once. You need to do an onboarding process. You need to make sure these people are correct for your business. But the main thing is you can tell. I'm normally a pretty good judge of character. I think. I hope so anyway. But and you can tell just by speaking. I had one guy who came to as a QS for me, and I asked him what he wanted. I tried to engage with him. I said, "And what would you want out of this job?" And his answer to me, "An easy life." Right, okay. All right, mate. Yeah, you're not getting a job.
And your core values like hard work, basically.
Hard work, honesty. The thing that gets drilled into everyone more than anything is the honesty thing. Yeah. The honesty thing, you know, we don't do this, this van's blown up, we're not going to be there. Yeah. Get in front of people. If anything goes wrong, you explain what's gone wrong, you tell them the truth, and we deal with the problems. And it's as simple as that. It's just the core values, and some of your values are very similar to ours. Yeah. We're the same. We give back. We do quite a bit for the children's hospice charity, and we do food bank.
Just be a pillar of the community.
You've got to try and give back to the community, because obviously we're just over the bridge in Fife. Yeah. So we do Dunfermline Food Bank, but the main one we do is for the children's hospice. For I don't know if you saw Dave.
Doing the ultra.
I did two. Yeah. One after. I did the ultra.
I was doing a marathon and thought I was doing amazing. Then I just looked at Dave and I went, right, you're just taking it to another level.
Dave's done brilliant, but yeah.
Was it 96 miles he done, or not? Was it 70?
We're like 2 marathons.
You lost count. You just went as.
But no,
fair play though.
He's brilliant. That's his thing.
That's the kind of people you want in your company as well, isn't it? People who's driven like that.
Yeah, so part of the story is, so part of what happened with the company is, so we started off, we got to, as we said, we got to a stage where you need to look professional and able to grow. Yeah. You need all your accreditations and, you know, your health and safety, as we've said. Then what basically happened then is I got to a stage where I was working from home. You know, it's like when you're working from home, probably, I think you will anyway, at some point you've worked. I used to be getting up in the morning and still be sat in my shorts and t-shirt on, and you know. Yeah.
Well, you don't stop, do you? Really, it's almost like a
5 o'clock in the morning up, 5 o'clock at night. I'm still sat.
There's no hours. It's just you just work. There's no like separation between work and actual home life.
Exactly. So I then decided I needed to get myself an office. So I got a tiny little office on my own, down in Rosyth, and I was working there just so I could get up in the morning. Have a shower, go to work.
It's good for routine.
And then go home at night and try and separate. it's still difficult to separate.
You still, I don't think you ever properly, truly, like we were having a chat before we came on and started the episode, but you don't ever truly switch off, I don't think. But from what you're saying there, it does make it a lot easier. Like I remember, like our first little unit that we had, I'd been working, same as you, I was working from home, basically in the kitchen and just doing every hour under the sun. It would be out in the tools during the day, quoting at night, and then when I started to come off the tools, it was like out doing surveys during the day, quoting all night as well, and then you just wouldn't stop. Then I moved to we had a little 250 square foot unit, and I'd built a wee office in the corner of it, and that gave us a bit more of a base where the guys could come, and I'd put them out to the jobs there, and then it just took us up like a slight notch in our professionalism. At this point we'd started to brand the vans, they had good uniforms on, like it was starting to build a wee bit of, the business was becoming a bit tangible, if that's the right kind of word for it, rather than, well, where's your business almost. And but I remember even like I was getting into bad habits of like I would be out maybe checking the jobs, doing some surveys, whatever, going back to the wee office and quoting there, and because I was just there and in that zone, it would be like midnight, 1 a.m, and be like, I'd actually be thinking, is there any point in going home now, because the guys are going to be in a couple of hours. Then I'd like start getting the jobs, and like my wife will tell you this, like there's a few times like I just stayed overnight. And it's like, that is quite insane, to be honest. But like, see then, it just seemed like totally normal. It was like,
because you're just desperate to get these spots.
Yeah, I was like, why, like, you're kind of telling people about it, and they're saying, like, that's crazy. And then I'm kind of going, that's just normal. That's just what I've got to do. Like, because you can't see how any of this is going to go. So you're just like, got to put everything in.
When you first start a business as well, you've then suddenly dawns on you that the people who you've set on, you're responsible for paying their mortgages in theory, and looking, they've got families, they're relying on you to make sure they get a wage. And I think sometimes you get swamped slightly with it.
It can be overwhelming. But I think that's a good one, and probably for anybody listening that's maybe not quite made that step. I know that some of the business owners that I work with, in my mentorship program, they're a bit unsure of taking that leap to the office stage. And I'm like, just do it, you'll never look back. If you back it, because when you take the leap of faith and you back yourself enough, if you do a couple of all-nighters there, you will get through it. I'm not recommending that, but what I'm saying is, if you've got those values, like you said, hard work, you're willing to get into it, then you'll make it work.
I think the thing that people mostly do wrong, and funnily, I got asked the question last week, and it was, what is the worst advice you've ever been given? And for me, is everyone says, don't grow too quickly, don't grow, be careful, don't overstretch yourself. As long as it's measured, as long as you can fund it, because funding's a big thing, like you say, with payments. As long as it's measured and you can fund it, grow, just keep growing, do whatever you can do, and obviously price what you can. I also got asked what was the best advice I've been given. I spoke to, it was someone who I went to do a job for when I had my old Bangor Transit van, and he said to me, he was in steel, and he had a big massive house with a swimming pool around it, and I was screeding around the swimming pool, and he says to me, have you just started up then? I said, yeah. I said, he just said to me, I'll give you a bit of advice. He said, price everything you can and treat every customer the same, whether it's a big job or a small job. And I've took that advice on board, and we've done that ever since. Obviously, the structure of the company now changed, so we don't really do many small jobs now, which is just the way it's grown, and the way, because we're now mainly commercial. We're geared up to do the big jobs. But yeah, when he gave me that advice, I thought to myself, there's a guy who's obviously made it himself, and I'm like, I'm thinking, and he's right.
And you need to listen when you can see someone that's been successful. They always say success leaves clues. So when they're turning around and saying something like that to you, it's probably makes sense.
Without doubt.
Because it doesn't sound like a get rich quick scheme or anything. It's like, it's just a solid look.
Treat everybody with the same respect. It's like a values thing again. If you're doing a 50 metre job or a 500 metre job, human nature is trying, there's more money on that, so let's go. But no, you need to treat them with the same respect.
Some of our best customers in the roofing, like, we maybe did like a repair 10 years ago, and then they come back and now their full roof needs replaced, and they come to us because there was a lot of people then just went, no, it's just a full roof or nothing at all, or we did the wee repair works and did that because we were willing to do the smaller jobs and the bigger jobs, and even now we still do the small jobs, but we are quite expensive for it. But like just because of our outfit now, it's difficult not to be. But we're always dead honest with the client on the other end of the phone. Like if they call in and they're like, do you do a small gutter repair or a small tile repair or whatever, and we're like, look, we can send someone out, this is what it's going to cost you, but like we'll definitely give you a guaranteed time when we're coming, we'll give you a receipt for the job, you know, you'll get like if anything was to go wrong, we'd come back. So it's like, it's in their hands then, and usually what happens, they maybe go, it's a wee bit more than I thought, possibly, and then they'll go away, they'll phone around, nobody will get back to them, nobody will even bother about it, then they'll just come back and say, look, do you want to just do that for us? And you just go and do it, but it's no, you're not ripping people off. It's just like, look, that's what it costs for us to send a team of guys out now. It's no.
What people need to realise, if you've got a big, if you set up like yourself and like we're set up now, we've got, like I said, we've got an office full of staff.
Yeah.
You know, but we're not geared up like your man with the I once was.
Yeah, where we were in the beginning, just like one van with a couple of guys, and you can maybe catch that job on the way home or something.
So we've got to cover our overheads every job you go out to. Somebody will be like, but it's only a small job, and I would never refuse to do a job, but what I'd normally say is, I think we're going to probably be too expensive. I've had it where I've actually been to jobs and tried to convince the customer to do it themselves.
Yeah.
I'll sell you some material, just do it yourself, it'll be cheaper than us coming to do it. Yeah. And they're like, no, but I've had 2 quotes. I said, well, use one of these because these guys will do it for you. And in the end, they're like, but how much are you going to pay? And I'm like, trust me, you're better doing it yourself because it'll be like somebody's front room that needs levelling or something, and do it yourself.
And that's that honesty part in your values.
But then they still want me to do it, and I'm like, but we'll do it for you then. But it's just you're not ever ripping anybody off. It's just as we grow, as we're aware, the overheads go up. So like that. So basically, what happened with us is, like I said, I moved to that office, and from the office, I then decided I got to. I was doing probably about 40-50 grand a month, and I thought, I don't really know what I'm doing here. So I then thought I need a business coach. Then I got. The thing with me is I don't like to do things like the norm, because to me, if everyone does the same things, you end up with the same outcome.
Go against the grain.
So I went online and looked for a business coach on LinkedIn, and a guy called Stevie Kidd, probably you know Stevie. So I got him to come and see me, and he came in and he says, right, and I'm sat in this office on my own. He's like, where's your quote system? I went, there, and it's a big pile of paperwork like that. He's like, do you not have a computer system that you quote on? I said, no, I do it by hand. I stack it up in corner, and how do you know what you've quoted? I said, because I've put it on a template and sent them an email. Well, how do you know how much and he was like, actually, do you know how much it's going to cost? I said, because I know how much things cost. So I knew I was making money. He's like, do you know, I said, yeah, I make money each year. Do you know how much? No, but I know I'm all right. And he was looking at me as I said, have you got a business here that's turning over sort of like 500 grand? You don't even have any systems in place. So I said, he said, so why am I here? I said, because I'm at a stage now where I'm getting swamped on my own, because the work was coming in thick and fast, and I was struggling to do it all on my own, and I needed to get systems and a bit of coaching on what to do next. And Stevie came in and he's like, right, so then we went to, do you know Laura Taylor, who's also? So we got Laura in, she set Xero up, and we used a system at the time called Workflow Max. We don't use that anymore. We use a system called Simpro now. So she came in and she helped us get Xero set up, get all the systems set up. And then it was, right, well, you need to get staff. And as we were speaking about earlier, it's this, if I get a member of staff though, what happens if I can't pay them? What happens if, and everybody goes down that and believes that. But one thing that I do know now is that ain't how it works. The more staff, as long as you've got the right values and the right member of staff, the more members of staff you bring in, the more work you generate, as we spoke about earlier. You never ever, you don't bring a member, everyone thinks if I get a member of staff, my life will be easier. No. Because what happens is that the member of staff then generates work. Then you get another one, they generate work, and it's just, it's like a gradual progression. The company, the way we set it up, it grows now. We've set up in a way that it grows almost automatically. It's just generates space constantly. But it's measured growth. It's got to be measured growth, because it doesn't matter what your turnover is, it's where your profit margins are. people.
And you can't run out of cash, that's the thing as well. You've got to have a model that actually, as you grow, the more cash comes in. Because if you're growing but the cash isn't coming in, even if you're profitable, you could go bust basically.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, and I think a lot of people don't, or people think in business that if you need to, borrow money or get a facility in place, like invoice financing or something, you're not doing well enough. It's not that. You need, with the way construction pays you, you need to have systems in place to cover that.
Yeah, something to bridge the gap sometimes. You're not going to go bust when you've got a really profitable model. You just need to bridge the gap, and then later go right. And probably, like you said, with building that good brand and professionalism, I'm pretty sure you can give a lot of clients now, like, look, this is our terms, this is when you'll pay us. There'll be some that's still not quite that, but you know, it gives you a bit more, like you get a bit more authority in the industry to say, if you want to use us, that's absolutely, we can do it all for you, here's what it's going to be, and this is our terms. And then you try and just shorten that in a bit so that...
Yeah, it's always a negotiation terms normally, isn't it? But yeah, it's, no, so we're the same, so what we did is, so Stevie came in. Steve still coaches me now, but he also coaches a lot of the
team as well.
Yeah. So we use Stevie. He's probably watched this, but he's not everybody's cup of tea. But I like it because I like people who are just a bit different.
Yeah.
It's very similar to yourself. I've seen you like with Richard Bandler and all. Yeah. Stevie does all this as well. It's
I've seen that with him. He's quite it's quite out there, some of the stuff that he does that can seem a bit sort of wacky and against the grain. But I think sometimes that's needed. Like when you work with somebody like Dr. Richard Bandler, he's very much on the state of a person. So like if you're like in a low state and Stevie comes in, he's got something on his head and he's trying to give you a message, it's going to change your state to give you the message differently. So you know, and like you said, you've got to, certainly with like trades business owners, and I work with a good few of them, like a lot of them, when you first go and see them, they're just stuck in the hamster wheel, they're stuck in that sort of spinning plates mentality. So you sometimes have got to do something that jumps them out of that state and wakes them up, and you go, right, we need to go in a different direction now. You've been doing this for years and it's not been working, so let's go off in a different direction.
So that's exactly it. So in theory, you could say, really, Stevie was probably the first member of staff that I employed, if you like, the office space, but he wanted office space.
It's a good way to do it. I quite like that approach, because it's almost like getting someone to show you what to do so that you don't make the mistakes, I guess. And you still need to take wee leaps of faith and maybe hire the wrong person or the wrong role, but then I think we spoke about it earlier, but it's like get the right people on the bus, then get them in the right seats. And because you're hiring with like those values, it's like that's probably a team full, a bus full of the right people, and then it's just going, right, you'd maybe be better there, you'd be better there, and you can tweak all that as you go. So where is it sort of right now then? I know you've just been through sort of an interesting time, shall we say?
Yeah. So basically as the company is at the minute, so we've grown. The main growth thing with me is we now have 4 divisions within the company, but getting experts in every division within the business, that's the main thing, because no one else has the expertise within their business in the trade in Scotland that we do. We have an underfloor engineer. We have Dave, who's a resin whiz, and we have other guys doing resin. We've got screeds, we've got myself, and we have guys who've been in the trade 20 odd years doing the screeds. And then we've also started with these trucks. We've got another, I don't know if you've seen the truck, the energy screed truck we have. We've got that. We've got another one of them coming next week. I think it arrives. Another one of the Arctics. So that is the main growth. So what we do is we've grown the business each year. Every year the business even grown, even through COVID, because we had some work that we did through COVID for the Johnny Walker whiskey experience. We did that on Princess Street because historic Scotland, a lot of what we were doing was waterproofing. So waterproofing the floors, and they said with it being such an important building, they wanted us to work, so we worked. So every year we've grown, the business has grown, the profit margin needs to be good as we work. That's the most important thing. It doesn't matter how much you turn over if your profit's rubbish. So what's happened is when we got the truck, we started doing a liquid insulation, thermal lightweight aggregate, which is seamless insulation, and we were supplied by a company in Ireland called Energy Store.
Yeah.
And what you, obviously, as you just pointed out, Energy Store have come into partnership with us and taken the majority share in ATS. But no, it's a brilliant partnership. It really is. It's like I say, I were actually having a beer with Connor, who's the MD, and we're having a beer at the Concrete Society in Glasgow. At they do a Concrete Society dinner because Matt, who works for me, he's vice chairman at the minute, so vice president or whatever. He's one of them. So, but and we'd invited Connor as one of our suppliers there. We had a few beers and we started chatting, and eventually we realised that it was all a bit tongue-in-cheek at first, as it always is, but then he sort of said he was interested in buying ATS, and like I say, you've all had a few beers, you don't know where it's going to, but no. So right enough, they've now majority share, which is brilliant. It's good for the staff, it's good for us all. They're a big outfit
and it's quite a life-changing thing for you, isn't it? Like it's a multi-seven-figure deal here we're talking about. I know we can't get into the guts of what it actually is, but you're sat there quite humbly just going, it's quite a good thing. But
no, it's brilliant. It's brilliant for the staff.
For me, when I was hearing about it all and the deal, I thought, wow, like, and that's a business owner's dream, I would think. But you didn't seem to. You didn't seem overly keen on. I know you've sort of sold it all, but you've.
No, so
it's 75%, is that right?
And
you've retained.
So I've retained some shares, myself, Dave and Ross have retained shares. But yeah, so obviously it's in our interest to keep growing the business. But it's not only just that. It's not, for me, it's not, you get a lump of money and then it's like, for me it's more, I've got members of staff now who, because of the values, I actually care about my staff. It's one of those. So it's strange because you think that things that with something like that, it's amazing. Don't get me wrong. It's amazing for us all, and it's certainly amazing for my family and everything else, which is what you always want to do, try and secure the future. It's amazing what's happened, but the thing that I also had to take into consideration when I were doing this is the staff. Yeah. And everyone's like, but nothing's changed. I'm still in at 7 a.m. to work. Yeah. I'm still there. Wife ringing me up saying, "Are you coming home tonight?" And it's one of these. It's
that's the values, though, isn't it?
It's just nothing's changed. Also, because I've still got all this staff I care about. Yeah. And at the end of the day, this business still needs to do well for Energy Store, for ATS, because at the end of the day, these people who work in this office. I've come there and they work for me, and there's bills to pay. The families, we treat everybody is not a number. Yeah. It's my responsibility to make sure this company keeps growing and going the way we are going, to look after all them as well as, because like you say, when you become a business owner as you away yourself,
you're much more than that.
You're much more, but yeah. So to me, you just need to believe in yourself and go for it. That's what you've got to do. And if you believe in what you're doing and where you're going, you've got to path your journey out as we all do. And you don't really.
It's inspiring.
It's been a tough 10 years. But it's good that we've got where we've got to. But it's been tough.
And now it's got such a platform that can go even further. That's the thing. It's because like you said there, that deal's been done, and rather than you sort of resting on your laurels and going, oh well, that's me done the hard work now, you've probably been reignited to go, what more can be achieved now with this support behind us, and having that healthy bank balance is probably something that a lot of business owners will be in awe of, because you're usually, when you're coming up through like them 10 years that you came up, usually the bank balance isn't too healthy, and you're actually going, right, we'll invest back into more vans, we'll invest into this equipment, we'll invest into the growth of our staff, we'll invest into maybe new premises, and you keep seeing the bank balance go, oh, that's looking good, then it goes down, then it's looking good, and then it goes down.
Yeah, I think we've been in construction, it's always going to fluctuate a bit, because yourself with payment terms, and you have a lot of them, they'll say they're going to pay in a certain day and it never happens. But yeah, no, like I say, we've got more security now as a company, that's for sure. But yeah, But like I said, the main thing for me is people just believing it and going for it, and not. If they want to grow the company and they want to do well, you've got to actually just back what you're doing.
Yeah, you've got to block out the noise, haven't you?
You got to block the noise
because
out.
people will say don't grow too big too quick. Oh, this guy went bust and this happened, and it's like. But usually people that saying that, they've never grown a business. They've never actually done anything.
No, but that's because they're living in fear.
Yeah, and to be honest, they're saying it to protect you. It's not a malicious thing. It's just know who you want to be listening to. And I think that's probably a huge benefit. Like, I could imagine if you're speaking to, say, Stevie, for example, and saying, look, Stevie, I'm going to go and try and sell the business for multi-millions. Like, he's probably going to go, yeah, good idea, let's see how we do that. Whereas you say that to anybody else in your circle, they're probably going to go, here he goes again.
That's it. Nobody believes you, do they?
What's the sort of before we kind of wrap up, what would you say is like the key things? So the values was amazing. So like you've told us your values and they've carried you all the way through. You've still got them now. They're with the staff. That's building things great. I'm guessing you had a vision there. You must have had some sort of idea, maybe not to actually sell, but actually to go, I'm going to grow this thing. So was there a vision there? And I guess I guess what I'm asking is like, is there maybe like 3 or 4, maybe even 5 things that you could say, look, if you're wanting to grow your business and you want to exit it for multiple millions, what's the sort of things we could look at? I think having the values was one, and I think there's a bit of vision there, but is there any other key points?
There's for me personally, what you need to believe in what you're doing, and like I said, get your obviously price what you can price. Make sure your structure's in place to do the work. Employ people who are probably, like I've got an office now with people. I'm saying that I left school and most of the people in my office have got degrees. It's employ people who are smarter than you. Believe in what you're doing. And one thing that somebody said to me, because obviously, as you say, you've got to finance stuff. You've sometimes got to sign personal guarantees as a business owner and things. And obviously, when energy stores come in, any sort of personal, to me, is now sort of away. And people look at you and they say, I bet that's a weight off your shoulders. No. Because that only matters if you're going bust. I ain't going bust. So what people think that you should be worrying about things that you shouldn't really worry about if you know where you're going.
If you believe yourself, then you don't even give it a second thought of that personal guarantee might come back to bite me. It's like, know where I'm going.
No.
And you've got to back yourself.
People say, oh, is it a weight off your shoulders knowing that energy stores the main shareholder in ATS now, and you've got more financial backing? It's not really a weight off my shoulders because I didn't really. It probably sounds really bad, but I didn't really have a weight on my shoulders because I believed in what we're doing.
I think one thing about it is sometimes accountability. I know, like the more staff I hire, the more customers we take on, the more vans we bring in, whether that is like personal guarantees and whatnot to make that happen, moving to the bigger premises and all of that stuff. To me, that's accountability. It makes sure that, like, you know, we've got similar values there from what we've discussed, but like the hard work and the trust and the growth and all of that stuff, that I've got them values there. It's like there's an accountability to make sure that all of that stuff pays off and works. And I'm very much similar to you. I'm like, I'm not worrying about a personal guarantee because I'm like, sign that because like where we're going, that like it just doesn't even come into your mind.
No, it matters if you're going bust. I'm not intending to go bust.
Yeah, and if you start thinking about that enough, it might happen. So you'd be better thinking about
I think that's what holds most people back is the fear of if things go wrong.
Yeah.
But you're never going to get there if you don't do the things that. But what happens if it flips and things go right?
Yeah. What if it goes right? Yeah.
So the thing that I would say to people is, just basically, you need to get the infrastructure in place and not. I'm saying go for it. You don't need to do silly things, but you need to make sure that you can do what you say you can do.
It's calculated risks, isn't it? It's like
calculated, but you need to be going forward.
Yeah.
What's happened behind and so and so down the road said that they went bust up. Listen, forget about everybody else.
Yeah. You're not them. Yeah. Well, it's been a pleasure, Jason.
No,
I think that wraps us up quite nicely. If anybody wants to kind of reach out and do business with you guys or get in touch with you, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
LinkedIn. Yeah. I'm always probably everybody sees us on LinkedIn because we do a lot on LinkedIn, the marketing. So we're on LinkedIn, so they can contact us on LinkedIn. With websites, obviously I have links on the websites. So it's atscreeding.co.uk. And just generally phone the office, and anybody can get hold of us there. But
that was another good point actually when you mentioned that networking. That's a big one, because you mentioned LinkedIn there, and a couple of people like Stevie Kidd, Laura Taylor, they've all done well on LinkedIn. They've networked really well, and you know, you being on there, it's quite a powerful network there, but also just in general, like networking, I think is a massive part of growing a business and having success.
Networking, you obviously need your infrastructure, you get your networking right, and the quality of work has to be there as well. Yeah. You do the quality of work, you give the customers the right experience, you do the networking, and you believe in yourself. That's the main one, believe in yourself.
Top man, Jason, I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on.
Cheers, mate.
Good man.
Cheers.